And we're back. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Come on in. We're ready for the afternoon session of Will Kayla Stay Awake in the afternoon dragathon? In the afternoon bootleg Elaine questioning of her. I hope you all had a lovely lunch or break or whatever it was. Welcome to everyone coming in. I hope this stream finds you well. Please. Yeah, she was. She was nodding. She was on the heavy nod. Um and I mean it just you just have to ask yourself, like, is that legitimate testimony? Hello Harlot, hello Stacy, JC, everyone coming in. Is that legitimate testimony? I mean, if someone, even maybe the defense, if I was the defense, right, and I'm trying to put up a rigorous defense for my client, I would put in whatever motion or whatever questioning there needs to be about what substances she might be on, unless it's already known. Hey, Evil Queen, because it was kind of alarming, to be honest with you. I mean, it was kind of hard to watch her because it made me sleepy looking at her. Here we are.
You ready to bring the witness back? Honest.
Let's see what she looks like coming in. Let's see what direction her ponytail's pointed. Let's see if she's still looking like Snooky. Oh, it's all the way up now. And there's like a comb over, kind of. You can hear the shackles. Thank you for that. Oh, and I haven't seen Sparkles yet, so I have a thank you to give to Sparkles.
Look at earlier. You want to approach?
Her color is definitely still off. She looks like gray almost. You know what I mean? She looks gray. She looks more alert. Her eyes are a little more open, but we'll see when she sits down and gets a little more comfortable. But she's almost gone like full Snooky.
Please ready?
You know what I mean?
Please rise for the jurors.
Full Snooky. They even have the same like posture right now. Look at that. Defiance, like, hey, it's me, bitch. I'm here, bitch. You ready for me? Even her pursed lips and everything. Fun fact, I did once dress up as Snooki for Halloween. I should find that picture. It didn't work out too well. Maybe Johnny. Yeah, I would imagine, Queen Bella, that the jury's sitting there going, "Who is she on?"
Sorry.
All right, here
a
we
little
go.
bit backwards from what we were talking about when we took the break, and talk about the order of the children in the car in the back seat. Declan, I think you said, had a car seat.
Yes.
Seamus had a car seat,
Yes.
and Harmony would wear a seatbelt.
Yes.
And I think that you said earlier today, Declan was in the middle, Seamus was on the driver's side, and Harmony was in the passenger side.
Yes.
In May 16 of, well, actually, in June of 2023, you described Harmony in the back seat after Burger King, leaning on Seamus's seat.
Yeah, she was always leaning on one of the car seats.
Okay. And you said it was Seamus's.
Okay, so I must have it mixed up. I don't remember. I always thought Declan was in the middle.
Okay. If you told them on the 23rd that it was June 23rd that it was a Seamus, it could have been.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you were on May 16, 2023, you were talking about feeding the children, and you said Declan couldn't eat yet because he was an infant, but I gave Seamus a little piece at the time he was in the middle. Is that right?
Yes.
And that was as if it was a memory, that you were speaking from memory.
Yes.
And do you recall, because you talked about feeding Declan and putting the pieces in his mouth, do you recall if you did that?
I remember feeding one of them, both of them. I don't know.
Okay. And you talked about putting a sandwich on Harmony's lap, but not looking at her, right?
Right.
But you saw that she had a blanket on her lap, right?
Yeah, she always had a blanket on her.
And it was on her lap, you described it, right?
Yes.
Not over her, it was on her lap.
Right.
And that you were not looking, but you were sitting and just handing stuff back.
Right.
Okay. So, a couple of things on Union Avenue and what you described at Union Avenue. I think that you described the tote was in the, not the tote, the plastic thing with the tote inside was in the closet, and then the tote was put in the refrigerator.
The bag was in the tote in the closet. Then the bag ended up in the refrigerator.
CMC bag.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was in the refrigerator for a bit until it was taken out to go into the bathtub.
Yes.
And after it was in the bathtub, it went in the freezer.
Yes.
Okay. And you talked about events in the freezer,
Thank you, cutie.
I mean- in the shower,
Thank you, thank you.
and described for the jury lime,
Yes.
and that lime was used in the shower.
No.
Did you say that lime was put in a bag?
Yes.
So that was on the floor of the bathroom. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? And why lime?
Adam got the lime. I don't know where it came from.
Okay. Did y'all research lime and what it might do?
I did not.
Okay. It's not like anything was dissolving in the shower or anything, right? With the lime? In the
It
bathroom?
wasn't in the bathroom. It wasn't used in the shower.
Okay. But nothing was dissolving or anything with lime, right?
I have no idea.
You were in there.
Not the whole time.
Okay. You said that lime was put in a bag and then Harmony's body was put in a bag. You didn't see any reaction of her body to the lime, right?
No.
Nothing changed.
I didn't see her body getting put in the bag with the lime. Adam said that he was going to be putting her body in the lime, in the bag that has the lime in it.
Okay. Okay. And you talked on direct about a tool. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And when you first spoke to the police, you told them that scissors were the only tool used in the shower, right?
From what I remember, yes.
Okay. And the scissors were used to cut clothes off of Harmony.
Yes.
And you used the scissors
Yes.
and you cut off Harmony's hoodie.
Yes.
And you're saying Adam used the scissors
Yes.
and cut off her leggings.
Yes.
And those were the only tools in the bathroom, right?
That I saw, yes.
How big's the bathroom?
The bathroom wasn't that big.
Okay. You saw the things that were in the bathroom, right?
Yes.
And you claim to have seen a bag of lime in the bathroom, right?
Yes.
You didn't see any tools, right?
No, I saw a bag of lime and trash bags.
Okay. And there weren't any tools sitting outside the bathroom, right?
No.
Okay. And you didn't hear any power saws?
No, because it was really loud.
What was really loud?
Our neighbor next door was a drunk and very loud, always blasting his music.
Okay. And you think that the music could have overcome power
That's weird.
tools if they were used?
I believe so. Yeah, it was very loud all the time.
Okay. And when you first talked to the police, you actually denied that you helped Adam in the bathroom, right?
Right.
And you denied that you had anything to do with what he did in the bathroom.
Right.
You said that Adam didn't want you in the bathroom.
Right.
And then when you had to admit that you were in the bathroom, you ended up admitting that you cut off the hoodie, right?
Right.
And you ended up admitting that you were zipping up the bag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were in the bathroom for a while?
No.
For a few times.
Like a couple times, yes.
Okay. And otherwise, the shower was going.
Yes.
And so presumably the water is doing something.
Yes.
And a bag of lime on the floor in the bathroom would generally not be touched by a shower that's in the tub, right?
No, it was in the corner of the bathroom.
Okay. Away from the tub.
Yes.
Okay. But the shower, I think you said, was going continuously
Yes.
the whole time.
Yes.
And you could hear that.
That's what I saw.
Saw or heard?
I saw. I couldn't hear it, but I saw.
And you saw it going the whole time?
Not the whole time, but I assumed the whole time.
Okay. Okay.
Because he told me what he was doing.
Okay. And you and Adam were working together to take the clothes off of Harmony and put her in the bag.
I didn't put her in the bag.
You zipped up the bag.
He needed help zipping up the bag. I was there in the beginning and I was there in the end.
Excuse me. Sir, you need to step out or turn the pager off. Okay, please step out.
Somebody has their pager or a pager. Are there pagers still in the world today?
I'm going to re-ask your question, Teresa.
Forgot what it was.
Ooh, that was meant to just throw off the defense, wasn't it?
So what you're saying now
Uh-oh. Covering the
is
face.
you didn't know
Uh-oh.
if the shower was going the whole time.
No.
Okay. Now you didn't know if Adam used any tools in the shower because you weren't there the whole time,
Right?
but you never saw any.
No.
Right, Jen Lou?
And the police specifically asked you about tools
Yes.
and specific types of tools, right?
Yes.
And you told them that the only tool that Adam had was a box, a big box under the counter in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that when he pulled out that box one time when he was losing it, he broke the counter.
Yes.
And it was a pretty big box, right?
Yes.
And you did not see any other power tools in the apartment
No.
before or since.
I'm sorry.
Before that day or after that day?
No.
Okay. And they actually showed you pictures of power tools
Yes.
to ask you about those power tools.
Yes.
And did they show you a picture of a big table saw?
Yes.
And that was or was not similar to what you had seen in the apartment?
It was similar to it.
Okay. I'm going to show you a picture.
Sounds like we got pictures coming up. Johnny.
You recognize this picture?
Yes.
And is that what you're saying? Well, how do you recognize this picture?
It's a table saw.
Uh-huh. And was that the type of tool that you had seen in the apartment?
Yeah, there was a table saw in the box.
Okay. And I'm gonna ask that this page be marked as an exhibit, Your Honor. It's not, it's remarked.
So she's a jealous, scorned ex, Jen
Witness
Lou.
with for identification or full? Full. Any objection? All right, it can be marked as a full exhibit.
And they also showed you a picture of a circular saw, right?
I don't know the difference.
Okay, I'm going to show you another picture. And ask you if you recognize that, what's in that picture.
Yeah, that's what it looked.
Pardon?
It looked more like what it was than that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you actually told the detective that it looked like the cordless compact circular saw.
No, it wasn't cordless.
Okay. You say it had a cord.
Yes.
Okay. And Your Honor, I'm sorry, I did not have this pre-marked. I would like this offered as a full exhibit.
Can be entered as a full exhibit.
Thank you. And this is, thank you.
It's the upsweep comb over, Delaney. Yeah, and the defense is like, I think I'll just spitball this one. I'll spitball this one. And so it's really disconnected.
And do you remember the detective saying out loud that, did it look like the cordless compact circular saw? And you said, yeah.
No.
Okay.
She's looking a little peaked, like sweaty.
And I'm gonna ask you to, again, look wherever you want. Let me put this in an easier position. But read that portion at least.
Yeah, clammy. Clammy is the word I was looking for. Clammy. Thank you, Caroline. And thank you for pointing out that link. I actually showed the
Yeah, it wasn't cordless.
link you sent me earlier.
Okay, but the photograph that the detective had showed you was, as he said, of a cordless compact circular saw, right?
Right.
And the photograph that's been marked as I is in, at least indicates it's a cordless compact circular saw or cordless circular saw.
Yeah, that's what it says. But it wasn't cordless, the one that was in the house, the
Okay.
apartment.
But that was the one that it looked like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Jen Lou or Harlot or someone who knows more about this case. Do you know when Kayla gets out of prison unless she gets charged with more perjury after this? I don't know when she gets out.
And then Detective Dunleavy showed you another photograph and asked if that perhaps looked like the tool under the sink.
That one?
No, a different one.
I don't know.
Do you recall him showing you a picture of a miter saw?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay. We'll get there.
Okay.
So earlier in direct, you were given a picture of a power tool, right?
Yeah.
And you had signed that photograph, right?
Right.
Or I'm sorry, initialed it, right?
Yeah.
Do you know when you initialed it?
No.
Pardon?
No.
Was it recent or a long time ago?
I know I did some recent and I did some a long time ago, so I don't remember.
You signed some photographs recently and signed some a long time ago?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you. And I keep saying sign and I'm misstating. You initialed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 63.
For identification or full?
It's been in as full.
That was recent.
This you
Yes.
signed recently
Yes.
in one of those prep sessions.
Yes.
And back in March 16, 2023, you did not sign Exhibit 63 as the tool that you had seen, right?
Right.
And if I may publish, Your Honor.
Objection.
Showing the jury a picture of one of the power tools.
And the name of the type of saw on that photograph that you recently signed was M18 Fuel 18 volt lithium ion brushless cordless size grinder with paddle switch tool open. Okay.
Yes.
But back in March of 2023, when you were shown photographs, you identified the one that looked most like the tool as the cordless circular saw, right? I'll show you Defendant's Exhibit I.
I don't get what you're trying to say.
This cordless circular saw photograph was the one that you identified most like the tool that was under the counter.
Yes.
Okay. If I may, Your Honor?
Yep.
Is that where you think this is going, Stacy? That Adam thought Kayla was trying to kill him? She said in her third proffer, did she say in her third proffer that Adam thought
So how was it that you came to
That-
initial a grinder with paddle photograph? What happened? What was the exchange where you initialed it?
Because my mom had a similar tool just like that one. Adam asked to take it, and I said, no, you're not taking it. It's my mother's.
Okay.
And he wanted to take it, and I don't remember if he took it or not because he would have did it behind my back.
Okay.
oh wow,
And
Kayla's
there were never any new tools in the apartment, right?
Not that I knew of.
And you didn't see any new tools around the time that you're talking about the things that you and Adam did in the shower.
Right, but he also brought lime and whatever else into the apartment, and I had no idea.
Okay. And you also talked to the prosecutor about tools in your prep session, right?
Right.
And in that prep session, you said you didn't know of any tools, but Adam said he wanted to, right?
Yes.
And that came in the most recent prep sessions that Adam told you he wanted to use tools.
Right.
And you didn't say when they were asking you about tools in June 3rd or June 23rd, you didn't see any tools, but Adam wanted to use tools, right?
Right.
And you didn't say in March 16 of 2023 that you didn't see tools. There was an old thing that looked kind of like the circular saw, but Adam said he wanted to use tools, right? And when you're prepping for your testimony here, I think that you said your parole hearing was coming up in May.
I don't know about my hearing. I know my minimum is in May.
Okay, and so you are hoping for a parole hearing and to get out in May, right?
Yeah.
But it's not guaranteed, right?
No.
Okay. And on that time where the state had you initial that fuel grinder, did they show you the picture and say, have you ever seen this?
Yes.
And you said, yeah, my mom has one.
I said, yes, my mom had one. I saw that she had one of those.
Okay. And when they showed you this picture, that you thought it might be important to the case, right?
Because Adam asked to take it, and I
Okay.
told him not to.
Okay. And that's a real clear memory, right?
Right.
And it's something that you never mentioned in June or March 22, 23, right?
Because it didn't get brought up. I wasn't thinking about that.
Well, they were asking about tools, weren't they?
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking about tools that my mom had. I wasn't remembering that Adam wanted to take that.
Okay. Okay. And what was that tool? Did you remember what it was?
A handsaw.
Okay.
That's what I call it anyway.
Okay.
the vocal
And
fry is strong.
what were the circumstances that you saw it at your mom's place?
because my mother works with wood. She has her own refurbishing
Uh-huh.
company, and she does her own woodwork.
Okay.
And she just got it. It was brand new in the
Okay.
box.
Okay. So if it was brand new and purchased, it was brand new in December of 2021.
Yes.
Okay. The police showed you photograph of the CMC bag when you were doing the interview in June of 2023, right?
Yes.
And you identified that as the same type of bag, the same as the one that you got from Catholic Medical Center when you had your child.
Yes.
And you actually thought that it was your bag.
Right.
You thought they had found the bag.
Yeah.
And you had thought that because you recognized this little spot
Yeah.
in the photograph.
Hi, Christina
Are you
Weinman.
published, Your Honor?
Showing the bag again. It's not the bag, it's like the bag. Imagine putting a child in that bag. It is horrifying.
So let me talk about what you've described as the treatment of that CMC bag. You say that Harmony's body was taken down from the ceiling at Fit and put into the shower at Fit
Yes.
and put into a trash bag and into the CMC bag.
Yes.
And that body stayed in this CMC bag for a while.
Yes.
And then you took the CMC bag down the street to Portland Pie.
Yes.
And then the CMC bag came back to
It does look like a Trader Joe's bag. And yeah, I agree. I think she's trying to upset her in some way and get her off of her game. Because it feels like she keeps trying to retread the same questions and touch on things that upset her when she was testifying on direct examination. Yeah, and I think that it's possible, Lil Red, that
and that
they're
Harmony's body was in the
slowly
closet in
poking
that
holes in
bag at Union, right?
Yes.
And that then it was in Harmony's body was in the refrigerator in that bag.
Yes.
And then Harmony's body was in the bathroom with water running and her body and lime and all that stuff in that bag.
Yes.
And then in the freezer.
Yes.
And then taken away.
Yes.
And you believed that this bag was the same bag
Yes.
because of that little dot there.
Yes.
Because the last time you saw the bag, that was the only stain on the bag, or something.
Not the only stain, but that was a stain that would not go away.
Ah, did you wash the bag?
No, but I tried getting it off
How?
by rubbing it off,
Okay.
wiping it,
Pardon?
wiping it.
Okay. Okay. Now, after the thing in the shower, Adam became pretty despondent, right?
What does that mean?
Hurt inside.
Yeah.
And you said that he tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
And you told him that he had to live and be there for the kids.
Right.
And that the kids need him and you needed him and he shouldn't do it.
Yes.
Basis?
Yeah, don't die because I need you.
Without your, if I may rephrase, Your Honor,
Oh, you may rephrase. The question is withdrawn. The objection is sustained.
without saying exactly what you said, you tried to talk about your lives together to give him something to live for.
Yes.
Okay. And the main focus of that was the kids.
Yes.
Okay. The completely changing the subject, I want to take you back to the summer of 2019, and you testified about Kevin and Adam having an argument and you overhearing it.
Yes.
And the argument was about Kevin Montgomery's failure to pay bills that he had promised to pay, right?
Part of it. Yeah.
Okay. You all were kind of left in the lurch because those bills weren't paid, right?
Yes.
I may have a moment, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else? When you're ready.
If I may just have a moment.
Yeah, the whole flat affect on Kayla is disconcerting. You know, and I agree that if I were sitting on the jury, I would be sitting there thinking, well, I don't know everything yet, but this girl seems like a really shitty mother and a shitty person.
Tree Knowles, I need you to have a microphone there, so I don't know if you. Thank you.
Wow. So this is redirect.
Whenever you're
Interesting.
ready.
Thank you. So, Kayla, you just said that part of that argument was about failure to pay bills. Can you tell the jurors what the other part of that argument was about?
Was about Adam hitting Harmony.
It was about, I'm sorry.
Adam hitting Harmony.
Okay. And this bag that you have identified,
Yes.
is it similar? Is it identical to the one that was brought to the Econo Lodge?
Yes.
Is it identical to the one that Adam left and then you hauled it?
Yes.
And the stains that you mentioned, when did they make it onto that bag?
Before we left Guilford Street.
Before you left Guilford Street.
Yes.
And so that would have been before Harmony's body was ever placed in the bag,
Yes.
before the defendant murdered Harmony,
Yes.
before he beat her to death in that parking lot.
Yes.
Was that
Sustained.
Was that before he beat her to death in the parking lot?
Yes.
Step to the mic, sir. Step to the mic.
Attorney Smith just showed you several items, saws. And I want to be very clear. The saw in my right hand was what the defendant discussed.
Objection.
Meeting. Sustained.
Foundational question. Did he testify on direct that the saw in my right hand was the one that the defendant used, discussed using to dismember Harmony?
Yes.
Did you say that on direct? Because that's in fact what he did. He discussed using this to dismember Harmony.
Yes, he did.
And the saw in my left hand that the defense attorney showed you just now, was this similar to the item that was under your countertop?
Yes.
Attorney Smith she asked you about if that's when the defendant was losing it. What does losing it mean to you? Was that when he was hitting you? Was that something else?
Everything. He was abusive. He, in all ways, physical, emotional, and mentally.
You said physical, you said emotional, and you said mentally.
Yes.
And let's unpack that. How is he physical with you? How is he physically abusive towards you in that period before you escaped him?
He thought that I was telling on him or cheating on him or trying to kill him.
Okay. And
There, she said it, trying to kill him.
how is he physical with you in those interactions?
He wanted me to tell him who I was cheating on him with or if I was working with the cops, and I kept saying that I didn't, and he kept hitting me anyway. And then I started telling him that I did, even though I wasn't, and he still kept hitting me anyway.
And let's talk about that. Why would you tell him that you were doing these things, working with the police why would you tell him that, even though you weren't at the time?
So that I wouldn't get hit.
Did he still hit you?
Yes.
You said that he was emotionally abusive to you. Tell the jurors about that.
Because he'd go back and forth with telling me to tell him that I was working with the cops, and he would accuse me of sleeping with the guy downstairs, sleeping with all these different people, that I came out of the window one night. I couldn't take care of the kids. He wouldn't let me do anything without him being there.
You said that he was mentally abusive to you. Can you tell the jurors how?
By asking me if I was working with the cops and making sure that I stuck with the story that he brought me to work and dropped me off and was bringing Harmony to her mom.
And can you tell us who came up with that story?
He did, Adam.
And you stuck to it.
Yeah.
You stuck to it even though you knew you weren't working at the time. I'll rephrase. Did you stick to it even though you knew you weren't working at the time?
Yes.
Attorney Smith asked you about Adam being pure evil. Did you think that Adam was pure evil?
When he would start going crazy, yeah.
And you mentioned the evil eyes. When he looked at you in that moment, evil eyes. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And was that right after he'd beaten Harmony?
Yeah, it just got worse.
Were there also good times with the defendant in that period?
Yeah. But it was mostly bad.
And in those bad times, were you hoping for the good times?
Yeah.
Kayla, do you still love the defendant?
I still care about him because he's the father of my children. He was my best friend. It's been hard for me to just let go.
Kayla, I want to switch gears with you just a bit.
She cries most for
You mentioned
him
that
still.
after the defendant had beaten Harmony to death, after your car died at that intersection, after the defendant realized that Harmony was dead, that he got a duffel bag out of the trunk. And Attorney Smith asked you about him getting that duffel bag out of the trunk. And you said that the trunk would not open
Yeah.
and he had to go in through the back seats.
Yeah.
Can you tell the jurors why the trunk wouldn't open?
When the car died, nothing was electronic was working. The windows wouldn't go down. The car just stopped working.
Kayla, I'm going to switch gears with you again. And I'm sorry to bounce around like this, but you talked about Mr. Badero, Anthony Badero, being a source of drugs, an occasional source of drugs.
Yes.
And Attorney Smith asked you about how these drugs would be purchased.
Yes.
And I believe the testimony that she asked you about was that sometimes you'd pay for them, sometimes he'd give them to you for free. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
Would Mr. Badero also accept food stamps or SNAP as a form of payment for drugs?
Yes.
And when you were living in the car, is that a form of payment that he accepted?
Yes.
Did that lead to your family having to eat baby food as a result?
Yes.
Who was eating baby food while you were living in that car?
All of us. Myself and the boys in Harmony.
Attorney Smith asked you about trying to keep things quiet in the parking lot of the Colonial Village Apartments that morning around 3 a.m. when you woke up and the defendant was beating Harmony, striking her blow after blow. And you talked about the children not screaming. Is that because at the same time he was telling them to shut the fuck up? I think that was your testimony on direct.
Yes.
Who was he telling to shut the fuck up?
Harmony.
And was that before, during, or after he was brutally beating her?
Before and after.
Attorney Smith asked you several questions about Harmony, the changes that were happening to her. And she said that it was difficult for Harmony because of all the changes. And you agreed with that, but I want to ask you about that. Was it difficult for Harmony because of all the changes that she was going through?
Why don't you finish the question and then I'll rule on the objection.
So Kayla, was it difficult for Harmony because of all the changes she was going through, or because she was terrified of the defendant?
Sustained. You may rephrase the question.
Kayla, was it difficult for Harmony because of her fear of the defendant? It's a direct question. It's not a leading question. So Kayla, was Harmony, was it because of all of these changes, or was it for some other reason?
Overruled.
Or was it for some other reason?
I think it was all of it.
And let's talk about all of it. Can you tell the jurors what all of it is?
Adam being abusive, physically and mentally, and everything she went through from her mom and her dad.
And Kayla, when you say Adam being abusive, you're talking about the accidents that you would have.
Yes.
During your cross-examination, this was last week, the defense attorney said during her examination of you that Harmony died in the car with you, right? And you weren't able to explain the answer that you'd given. Who else was in the car with you, with Harmony, when Harmony died?
Adam and the two boys.
And who was striking her repeatedly right before she died?
Adam.
Are you aware that the defense argued in their opening that something happened to Harmony in the middle of the night, and that thing killed her before the defendant was even around?
Right.
So is that true?
No.
Did Harmony die in the middle of the night alone with you when the defendant wasn't even there?
No.
So when you testified during the defendant's examination that you thought Harmony was sleeping but then found out she was dead,
Yes.
was that in the middle of the night, or was that the next day after your car broke down?
That was the next day.
That was after the methadone clinic.
Yes.
Kayla, you were just asked, so you were asked last Friday, about a letter that you'd written with various demands. Do you remember that? It's the defense exhibit G.
Yes.
In that letter, you discuss betraying the defendant, and the attorney asked you if you wrote betraying, but you weren't asked to explain what betraying meant. Can you tell the jurors what you meant when you said betraying?
I felt like I was betraying him, Adam, by telling what happened to Harmony. And I was fighting with myself. Because I didn't want him to be mad at me for doing the right thing.
Were you referring to the
Really,
secret that you've been
Christina?
keeping for 2 years?
Yes.
Were you referring to telling the truth about him beating Harmony to death? I'll strike the question, Judge. Last week, you were asked to describe a conversation that you had with the defendant where he agreed to take the fall for Harmony's death, but you weren't asked to explain what that meant. What did you mean when you said take the fall, or when he said take the fall?
That he wants me with the children. And no matter what happens, he's the one at fault.
Was he taking the fall for something that you did?
No.
Did you beat Harmony to death?
No.
Was he taking the fall for what he had done?
Yes.
You said that in the spring of 2020, the defendant was acting strange. He was accusing you of telling on him for what he'd done to Harmony. What did you mean when you said he was acting strange?
Every time we got high, as soon as he got high, he started freaking out and just accused me of working with the cops, thought there was cameras in the house. The TV, smashed every phone we had, just destroyed the whole apartment.
When you were asked about lying to the grand jury, you said that he was stuck in your head. What did you mean by that?
That I stick with the story that he told me to say.
And that was stuck in your head during your testimony.
Yes.
I want to talk about that list of items that you gave, your requirements, the things that you'd like before testifying. Did you get immunity?
No.
Where are you currently living, Kayla?
New Hampshire State Prison for Women.
Kayla, did you get to keep your children?
No.
Do you have any rights to them?
No.
Are you even allowed to speak to them right now, Kayla?
No.
You said that after the defendant repeatedly struck Harmony, after he put the blanket over her, after she moaned, after the strange crying, moaning stopped, after he did drugs, and after the car died, you thought that Harmony was asleep under that blanket.
Yes.
Why did you think that she may be sleeping after Adam repeatedly struck her?
Because she usually just goes to sleep after.
Kayla, why stay with someone that does this to you?
Because I was scared. And I still cared about him.
Why defend a person that does this to you?
Because I was scared what would happen. I didn't want anybody getting in trouble.
Why stay with someone? Why stay with someone that does what he did to a helpless girl like this?
Because for some reason I still cared about him.
Why defend someone that beat her to death?
I don't know. I was scared.
Attorney Smith asked you about a proffer agreement, your agreement to provide information about what the defendant had done, what had happened to Harmony. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
And she asked you about how none of those statements could be used against you. I think you
Yes.
agreed with that.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, Kayla, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 102 for identification. I'm just going to ask that you review that document. Look up when you're ready. Kayla, is that the agreement as you remember it?
Yes.
And do you recognize any of the signatures on that final page?
Yes.
Which one do you recognize?
Mine and my attorney and the AG.
Is that the true and correct agreement?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move to admit states what's marked for identification as states 102.
The objection? No, Your Honor. All right, the ID may be stricken and be entered as a full exhibit.
I'm going to take it back. Kayla, does that agreement discuss how your statements can be used against you?
Yes.
Tell the jurors how your statements can be used against you.
If I lie.
Does it say what other than your statements can be used against you if you lie?
I can get charged with anything.
Does it discuss evidence related to Harmony, her body?
Yes.
Can that information also be used against you?
Yes.
Now, is that the information that you went to that meeting with?
Yes.
And you knew about that before you testified yesterday and today?
Yes.
Kayla, do you remember being, excuse me, do you remember being asked by the defense attorney last Friday about deciding to take an agreement with the prosecution?
Yes.
Do you remember Attorney Smith asking you the following questions and you providing the following answer? She said, but you knew they had you solid on the perjury charges, right?
Yes.
And you said right to that. You were never getting around that one. Attorney Smith asked you. You were never getting around that one.
Right.
And so you decided this would probably be,
Overruled.
and so you decided this would probably be the best you could do to get as few consequences as you can, as possible, for your actions as possible, right? Do you remember being asked those questions?
Yes.
Because people facing criminal charges make strategic decisions to admit to some lesser offenses to try to limit their legal exposure or get as few consequences for their legal actions as possible, right?
Right.
Now, the defense asked you about that legal strategy. So you think that they would be aware of it, right?
Yes.
Are you aware that falsifying physical evidence, that abuse of a corpse, it's lesser than murder?
Yes.
And are you aware that in their opening, they told this jury that that they can find the defendant guilty of falsifying and abuse of a corpse?
Yes.
Can you remind these jurors who killed Harmony?
Adam Montgomery.
I can have just a moment. No further questions. Thank you.
I think you testified that you were aware of what was said on openings, right?
Yes.
How were you aware?
I'm sorry.
How were you aware of what was said at openings?
I was told by my lawyer.
Your
Uh-oh.
lawyer told you what was said at opening.
Lawyer told what was said in opening?
I don't know, not like here right now. Can you
Pardon?
rephrase the question, please?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Uh-oh. So she was told what was said in opening by her lawyer? Is that okay? Are they allowed to do that? Because she said something about what was said in the opening statements. And as a witness, you're not supposed to know what's said in court when you're not there. This is not good, at least from where I'm sitting. I don't know for sure, but right, pretrial prep, but yeah, I mean, look at, she's concerned. She's very concerned. She might have fucked up. If there's a mistrial, more injustice to fucking Harmony. Man, oh man, oh man. We'll have to see what they can. What if they come back and they're like, all good in the hood, all good in the hood. There must be some, I'm sure the state is trying to give some legal reason why it was okay. Yeah, once they come to a decision, I'll go back and try to hear what was said, and hear where it all came in, because I don't have like the minute by minute. But basically what's happening is something was said about what was about.
This is a good time for us to take our mid-afternoon break. So I'm going to have you go back into the jury deliberation room. Don't discuss the evidence. No further conversations about this between each other or with anybody else. Don't do any independent research. And we will have you, we'll take at least 15 minutes, okay?
At least 15.
All rise for the jurors, please.
So let's stay here and see if they have a discussion about this on the record, but without the jury there. No, I don't think that's misplaced anger, hippie. I think there's a lot of anger toward whoever gave custody to that monster
Council approach.
and that system. Oh, they're not going to have this conversation. They're not going to share this conversation with us. But she's still sitting there. All right. While they're doing that, I'm going to try to back up to where this was said so that we can try to see what happened. Okay.
That, but I want to ask you about that. Was it difficult for Harmony because of all the changes that she was going through?
Objection.
She was terrified of the defendant.
Sustained. You may rephrase the question.
The defendant. It's a direct question. It's not a leading question.
I got to fast forward. I got to forward more.
Something strange. He was a head.
With the story.
Your head. Kayla.
No.
Asking you the following questions, and you providing the following answer. She said, but you knew they had you solid on the perjury charges, right?
Yes.
And you said right to that. You were never getting around that one. Attorney Smith asked you. You were never getting around that one.
Right.
And so you decided this would probably be
Overruled.
And so you decided this would probably be the best you could do to get as few consequences as you can, as possible, for your actions as possible, right? Do you remember being asked those questions?
Yes.
Because people facing criminal charges make strategic decisions to admit to some lesser offenses to try to limit their.
Right.
So you think that, are you aware that falsifying physical evidence, that abuse of a corpse, it's aware that in their opening they told this jury.
Here it is.
And are you aware that in their opening they told this jury that the state, that they can find the defendant guilty of falsifying and abuse of a corpse?
Yes.
So she says she's aware. They said
Can you
that in the
remind these
opening.
jurors who killed Harmony?
Adam Montgomery.
I have just a moment.
That's it. That's where she said it.
Can you remind these jurors who killed Harmony? Are you aware that in their then murder?
Yes.
And are you aware that in their opening they told this jury that the state that they can find the defendant guilty of falsifying and abuse of a corpse?
Yes.
Can you remind these jurors who killed Harmony?
Adam
Yeah,
Montgomery.
he did ask the question. Let's see if they came back yet. No, they turned the camera off. Well. What do you think, you all? He said to her, they're blaming Kayla. It was before that. Well, I think the whole point is that she's not supposed to know what was said in the opening or any other part of the trial. It's not necessarily about what was said, is about her being aware of what was said, right? And yes, it was the right. And she did say yes. And it was the prosecutor that asked the question. Right. So it might be, but then wait, let's go back to where where Bootleg Elaine asks her how she was aware. She says, how were you aware of that?
Yes, evidence related to used against you.
Yes. I was told by the lawyer.
I was
Your
told by the
told
lawyer.
you what was said at opening.
I believe so. I don't know. I'm not like here right now. Can you
Pardon?
rephrase the question, please? Please, I'm sorry.
How were you
Yes.
aware of what was said on opening? Right?
Yes.
How were you aware?
I'm sorry.
How were you aware of what was said at openings?
I was told by the lawyer.
Yeah.
The lawyer told you what was said at opening.
Yep. What lawyer? And yeah, maybe it could be a miscommunication, but guess what? It is a way for the defense to get a mistrial. It just is. You know, if the prosecutor got over his skis, that's a good way to put it, Evil Queen. Got over his skis. That was I mean, if it turns out, well, the grounds would be of a tainted witness, like a key witness who was coached with, I don't know what the specific legal terminology is, but any witness who's testifying in a trial cannot be privy to what else is said in that trial. They can't be told what's said in the opening. They can't be told what's said by other witnesses. Witness tampering, I guess, could be the term. I don't know what the official statute would be, right? But violating a sequestration order, right? That might be it. I see a little bit of camera movement, but it could be just people bumping the camera. She says something after that and then asks for the question to be repeated. I think she was confused by the question. I think maybe she realized she fucked up and said, "Can you repeat the question?" I don't know, like she saw like a chill come over the room. She saw people's body language change, and she's like, "Uh-oh, I fucked up." Yeah, we'll all be upset. And I was about to say maybe it's okay for opening statements to be talked about, but I don't think so. If not, if the defense attorney, yeah, sure, I'll play it another time.
I think you testified that you were.
I'm just going to ask that you get any of the signatures on that final page.
Yes.
Identification. Discuss how your statements can be used against you.
Yes.
Tell the jurors how your statements can be used against you
If I lie.
and also be used against you.
Yes.
Now, is that the information that you went to that meeting with?
Yes.
And you knew about that before you testified yesterday and today?
Yes.
Kayla, do you remember being, excuse me, do you remember being asked by the defense attorney last Friday about deciding to take an agreement with the prosecution?
Yes.
Do you remember Attorney Smith asking you the following question? You knew they had you be the best you could do to get as few consequences as you can as possible for you, because to some be aware of it, aware that falsifying physical evidence, abuse of a corpse.
Yes.
Can you remind these jurors who killed Harmony that in their opening that falsifying Are you aware that falsifying physical evidence, that abuse of a corpse, it's lesser than murder?
Yes.
And are you aware that in their opening they told this jury that the state that they can find the defendant guilty of falsifying and abuse of a corpse?
Yes.
Can you remind these jurors who killed Harmony?
Adam Montgomery.
I got just a minute.
Okay, so let's fast forward to where the
I was told. Yes.
How were you aware? I think you testified that you were aware of what was said on evidence, right?
Yes.
How were you aware?
I'm sorry.
How were you aware of what was said at openings?
I was told by the lawyer.
Your lawyer told you what was said at opening.
So, I don't know. I'm not like here right now. Can you
Pardon?
rephrase the question, please?
she said, not like here right now, then can you rephrase the question, please? So let me jump forward and see if they're back. No, they're not back yet, I don't think. Here, hold on. So I think she does. I don't know if the lawyer is there, but I'm sure she does have some sort of representation that she consults with. But it's possible that when, as Harlot is saying, that when on direct examination, and they could probably find the record of this, and that might be what they're doing right now, is that yeah, that's a good way to explain it. So either during the direct examination, and I don't remember this coming up during the direct examination, but the lawyer said during direct examination, you are being blamed for this, right? In some way, shape, or form. It could be that she's confused. It could be that prior to trial, she was told by her lawyer, okay, they're going to blame you. So when she was asked, you're aware in the opening statements, she wasn't necessarily thinking, oh, yes, in the opening statements, she was just told they were going to blame you. Right? So there could be a few ways to explain it away. It may not lead to a mistrial, but it is, of course, just the exact type of thing that a defense attorney needs to jump on for the defense of their client. Right? And also, this is where you start to get into she clearly gets confused a lot. Yeah, it would be cool if they release the sidebar transcripts at some point. She gets confused a lot. She's clearly, not feeling well. She had a headache, or she's on some medication that makes her foggy. But right, it is the defense's job to pick that up and not let it go if she can. So I do want to give a couple people some special court clips. Hold on one moment while we're waiting. Yeah, Teresa, at the very least, it was a sloppy question. Right. It was the kind of question that, even if it was innocent in nature, it was worded in such a way that you should have known that the defense was going to jump on it. Oh, wait, you knew? You knew what was. So he could have just said, you were aware that the defense was going to blame you for killing Harmony. And he didn't have to say in the opening statement, right? He didn't have to say that. So those are the types of things you have to think about, when you're in some sort of a venue where you have opposing parties, and the words that you use can be picked up legitimately and used against you. And those are the types of things you have to think about. I come from a different world. Right. Defense attorneys are always looking for a mistrial, and that's the exact type of thing. Yeah, I agree, Cutie. I had a different type of venue that I operated in, where whenever I was writing words for the different companies that I represented, I had to think about what the opposition could be from like 50 different fronts, right? I had to think about what shareholders would say, what employees would say, what specific types of audiences in the public would say. What hardcore Apple users would say versus just, not hardcore Apple users would say. You have to think through all those things as you're wording sentences. And in a court, it's even more important because, people's lives are resting on it. And that's why it's smart to not talk to the police if you're in trouble unless you have a lawyer. Johnny says, question, they found dark spots in the vent where Harmony's remains were. Did they find DNA, or is it just some spots? Do they have actual physical evidence? If anyone in the chat knows the answer to that question, it's a good question. I don't. I have vague recollection that there is DNA and that they know they do have physical evidence. They did test like the stuff that was in the ceiling and on that bag, not on the bag, but the decomp liquid that was in the ceiling, right? And also that's right. They talked about Adam's palm prints being right next to where the decomp was in the ceiling, right? So I know there's more evidence to come, and yeah, I know there's a long list of witnesses. Remember, they don't always call every single witness, but there is a long line of witnesses, which seems amazing considering, we've now gone through like 2 full days of Kayla testifying. Wow. Oh, I think, no, that was me. Okay. All right. Here's a special court clip for my dear Sparkles. Because, when she was able to finally find my PayPal, you know what I said? I said,
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for that clarification. Perfect. Thank you so much for that clarification. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, it is very anxiety provoking, Tess Mac. So thank you very much for that. Thank you so much for that, Sparkles. And this next court clip is for QT Pie. Let's see. Let's find a good one for Cutie Pie.
You need to own your ass. You need to wash your ass. You need to own your ass before you try to own somebody else's.
Remember.
Because I'm going to beat every single one of you guys in court. It's going to happen. And guess what? I'm doing it pro se. And I'm going to love every single minute of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the great courtroom Oriani. I'm just giving some palate cleansers. Idaho. Somebody said that in my comment section. I see movement in the court. It will be. She did hand her ass. It was pretty satisfying to watch. I understand you feeling that way, Harlot, but you know what? Let's look at it this way. At least when she's covering this trial, she's not making up complete bullshit about victims and their families. She's not making up conspiracy theories about the Idaho 4 or blaming some wife for the murder of a man where there was already a confessed murderer. Okay? So knock yourself out. Knock yourself out on streaming a trial using the same exact Pantone color on your thumbnail as me. All right? I mean, what a it's ridiculous. It's okay though. It's okay. It's really okay. Seriously, Tess Mac. Seriously. Go look at the thumbnail from her live today. literally the same exact Pantone color as that I'm using to on mine. I mean, and I'm the obsessed one, right? I'm obsessed. When I could go on and on and on and on about how weird that is, how fucking weird it is to do that, but I think you guys get it. I think you get it. Yeah, the thing, delicate titanium, the thing with this trial is that um it's not usually Bullhorn Betty goes after the cases where they haven't gone to trial yet. They haven't. I'm glad you like my laughing sparkles. They haven't gone to trial yet. The person is still missing. There's some sort of search that she has to immediately go out and conduct. So she has to collect money from her audience. Ewok noise. So she has to go collect money from her audience. The misinformation, Karen. It does have enough media attention, but it's too settled. You know what I mean? Like there's too much known about it. I could see her dragging, herself out to boots on the ground if Kayla was still being looked for, right? Not Kayla, I'm sorry, Harmony. What Bullhorn Betty likes to do is grab her bullhorn and go in front of murder victims' houses and shout that they are definitely the murderer. So the first time I saw her was in front of the Laundrie's house, shouting that they were murderers. Then, literally instituted a law because of her. Because they called that protesting, but it was actually harassing, right? Then, they go to the Summer Wells house. They go to Summer Wells well after Summer Wells is missing, right? And they go chasing Don Wells around to his work site, and they get Don Wells, the father of Summer Wells, fired from his job from harassment. Okay. That's how they roll. That's what these people like to do. They like to harass people who are still, there's some question as to whether they're a suspect, whether they're guilty. And she has even said, and I have this clip, but I don't have it like loaded up here. Yeah, the exact same colors, hippie. I mean, that is freaking weird. It's weird. Then Bullhorn and her friends went to Georgia in front of Quentin Simon's house and stayed out there all night, shining spotlights on the house, harassing the grandmother and the mother. And the mother is now charged with it, right? And but they stood there in front of the house playing baby noises. There were arrests in front of that house because there was a scuffle, and Bullhorn's friend Dolly physically snatched a bullhorn out of some other lady's hand. All right. So these fucking tragedy pimps go in front of these people's houses before there's any charges or anybody is arrested, and they just go out and outright accuse people, and who, remember, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. but they actually go and call them murderers. Call them murderers. Yes, playing baby crying sounds on speakers in front of the house, shining spotlights in the middle of the night. The neighbors were the neighbors were complaining. The police came. It's disgusting. That's why they're called tragedy pimps. They make money on this shit. And then she was in front of the Idaho 4 house at one point. This guy rolls up in a truck while she's live, and he's like, "Get out of here!" And she spits at him. Or either she spits at him or he spits on the ground, and then she's like, oh my god, I've been BHB is Bullhorn Betty, Lil Red. You know, I was showing my video earlier. So the video I just posted Saturday on my was it Saturday or Sunday? Sorry, I'm losing days. On Checkmate Humanity, talks about the Cyber Sleuth series that just came out. Yeah, okay, she spit on him. All right, I forget the details. Somebody spit on somebody, but then she claimed harassment by him. So my video talks about cyber sleuths, and I show a lot of clips of Bullhorn Betty because the cyber sleuth series features Bullhorn Betty among other people. And yeah, I was just talking about that, about how Dolly Vision was there and he got arrested because he physically took a bullhorn, or, you know, he got into a physical altercation with some other lady there. And so then, you know, they bailed him, Bullhorn and Molly Golightly bailed Dolly Vision out of jail, and then they had like a celebratory stream from some restaurant. I think it might have been the Olive Garden. We were in jail. Look at how great we did. We're so awesome. We're here for the cause. I mean, and I have a clip of Bullhorn Betty saying, you know, in my eyes, you are guilty. She basically says, you're guilty when I say you're guilty. And she's also this like hardcore, she says she's this hardcore constitutionalist, right? If you cannot be a hardcore US constitutionalist and also believe that you are guilty until proven innocent. No. It's innocent until proven guilty. No, Molly Golightly's channel was yeeted, Johnny. It was yeeted. So, yeah, exactly. And during the whole Quentin Simon saga, all these people were creating madness on the street where the kid lived, while law enforcement was digging through the garbage dump, through for this missing child, for his remains, and they actually found him there. Still not back in court. Sounds like this is quite the argument they're having. Yeah. So I just love these Karens that they're all about the Constitution until it's convenient for them to declare that somebody is guilty because they want to harass them for money. That's why they're called tragedy pimps. And Bullhorn Betty is, she claims herself to be. I call Bullhorn Betty Lana without the dirty old man mode. Yeah, I'd say fascist is probably a good word for it, accounting by day. It's probably a good word for it. I mean, she she has sued Queen Bee for defamation. She's been countersued by Queen Bee. She's making an entire joke out of the process. She's about to be sued by a private investigator because she has defamed him. She was taken to court by another YouTuber, Crude as fuck, Crude AF, and she lost in that battle. So she's also extremely litigious. She is a loudmouth. She's a good attention getter. That's just about, yep. And that Paramount doc just made their head bigger, and that's what it does. And that's why I was disappointed in the Paramount doc, and that's exactly what I said in my video about the Paramount doc. I'm disappointed because it just serves to give these people bigger platforms, bigger head, doesn't address the real problem with all of this, and that is that these people wouldn't be doing this if the platforms didn't encourage it, if the platforms didn't encourage you to make money doing those things. And by the way, for those of you who are, following in some way, ooh, they're back. Let's see what they say. Lana will be in pre-trial on Thursday
You can come on up. I'm just waiting for the lawyer.
for her criminal case. It remains to be seen whether this criminal case, whether Lana will be found guilty. Have no idea. I don't know anything about the details of that case. I have no idea. But she does go to pretrial. I believe it's a motions hearing. I believe that she's the very little bit that I do know is that she is challenging the charges based on jurisdiction. And she does have a lawyer for this, probably court appointed. She'll probably try to get another continuance. I know they've been getting continuances. I don't know if we'll be able to watch something like that. I don't think we'll be able to watch and the criminal charges are telecommunications harassment and revenge porn. I don't know, Jelly Baby. We've been speculating that probably Evil Queen. We've been speculating that maybe, it was just too much to say, hey, are you aware that in the opening statements, he shouldn't have just said, he didn't have to say in the opening statements this was said. All he had to say was, and I'm talking about the prosecutor right now, when he was questioning Kayla, all he had to say was, are you aware that you are being accused of killing Harmony? That's all he had to say. He didn't have to say in the opening, because that confused things, right? That's the exact type of thing. It's that prosecutor seems, he seems like he has a little bit of experience, but he's still a little green under the gills, and it could have been a rookie mistake that he made by wording it that way. Yeah. It'll just be interesting. Yeah, and he wanted to get across that Adam conceded, but I think there were more artful ways to do it without handing over a possible, mistrial contention from the defense, right? So it'll be interesting to see what they say when they come back. Whether, if they say nothing, then it was probably not whatever objection was brought by the defense is overruled, right? And well, you don't have to imagine, Caroline. There is there are public documents on the court docket in in Ohio from previous cases where she is suing her previous lawyers, and some of the exhibits are emails between her and her lawyers where she's literally telling the lawyer how to do their job. Literally. I mean, I like that doesn't just come from nowhere. When you are that grandiose, when you think you are, when it looks like you came out of the womb believing that you are an omniscient being with more knowledge than every human being that walks the earth. Yeah, you can see that she literally believes that she is the smartest person that walks the planet Earth now and for all of history. Okay. And when you're dealing with a person like that, you're not dealing with a reasonable person. There's no sense in trying to have a rational conversation with that person. You will never get anywhere. You can try, but you won't. They're not entering into the conversation in goodwill, in good faith. Lana Boone. Uh, there's so many nicknames. you know, there she does act like so many of these criminals that come into court, but I always hesitate to plant somebody with the name of a murderer. You know what I mean? Unless they themselves have been proven to be a murderer. But anyone who's willing to, in all seriousness, like with no irony, say under oath in court, I am the Idaho 4, tells you all you need to know. Okay? I mean, what exactly? How deranged do you have to be? Latrine Star. Stop. Yeah, Diva, I don't feel qualified to um diagnose her. I don't. But man, whatever it is, it's bad. It's really, really bad. Whatever happened to her to make her that way, it had to have been bad, right? It's possible, Caroline, but we can't count on it. Innocent until proven guilty. She has to be proven guilty in a court of law, and we shall see. The jurisdictional challenge could, we'll see if VPN works, right? You did it for me. Thank you, Diva. I appreciate that. Also, I don't know if you can do like it's a misdemeanor charge. So and she has no priors. So I don't know if she can get jail time. That's why I don't run around saying you're going to jail. I just say she's charged. Well, what I've noticed, Teresa, is that fewer and fewer people communicate with her unless they've been completely snowed uh, by her fascist chat, because she doesn't allow any opposing opinion about her in chat or in her comment section. Yeah. You know what she would do in jail? So it was funny, in the Paramount Plus, whatchamacallit, the series, Jonathan Lee Riches talks about how he went to jail and he thought that he had an unjust sentence. So he went to the law library and he wrote, he started writing all kinds of, complaints. And as we know, he's the one that has, quote unquote, the world record or whatever. He's a adjudicated vexatious litigant. Okay. No, Lana does not have a criminal history. She does not. She has many civil judgments against her, and their dollar amounts have risen to over six figures because of the dollar amounts that were judged against her and the interest that has accumulated over the years since those judgments came to be. So anyway, so she could just pull a JLR if she were to go to jail. She could just sit there in jail and start suing everybody. I mean, she bragged about it in a bar. I sue everyone. Wow, isn't it weird that they have come back? She does not have a criminal record, Rando. She has civil judgments against her. So isn't it interesting? They've come back on the record, and then they pointed the camera away and went off the record. And it is very anxiety provoking. What could they be doing? What? What? Come on, people. Come on, people. Let's go. And we're sitting here going, hello, we would like to take notes. We would like to know what's going on. Oh my gosh. What are you doing? What are you doing, people? Yeah, they're probably researching the law. Maybe they're looking up the records from what they said before. Accounting day, you're asking, what did Lana before YouTube? She was a bar entertainer. Literally. That's what her job was. She was a bar entertainer. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Delaney. Trouble. It can't be great. It just can't be great. Kathy, my understanding is that JLR's coverage with Cavalcanti was pretty good, actually. And that's how he blew up. His channel really blew up. It was already blowing up, but it really blew up around Cavalcanti, right? And now he's I think he's been going to the southern border and I hear, I haven't seen it myself. I haven't seen it myself, but I hear that he's getting a many people in chat while he's going to the southern border. And just like I said with Lana covering this trial, I'd much rather have him doing that stuff than making up complete bullshit about true crime. Slandering true crime. I hope he isn't slandering anybody that he's covering in those streams, right? I sincerely hope nobody in those streams is being slandered and harassed and stalked and whatever, because he could be really gross. Like when he was covering the Murdoch trial, he was standing there heckling is it Buster, the one they think killed Smith, right? You did it. What happened to Stephen Smith? That's just fucking harassment. Buster's girlfriend talked about seeing JLR going up to their car and taking pictures of their VIN number and stuff. That's just freaking stalking and harassment. I'd much rather have him be doing, doing regular coverage of the southern border and Cavalcanti's escape than harassing people. And then there's people like Turtle Boy. I hope he's not harassing the migrants. I hope he's not. That's what I'm saying. I don't want him to harass anybody. Nobody. And it didn't look like he was harassing anyone. It didn't look like he was harassing anyone with Cavalcanti that I could see, but I didn't watch very long. Seriously. He's not harrowing them. Good. Lil Red, this was interesting because of how she ended up in trouble with the BK court. I'm not sure what you mean, Lil Red. Who is she? In the BK court? Yeah, I agree. Accounting by day. Fearmongers. Yeah, well, BHB and JLR were good friends, and then BHB Bullhorn Betty came out and started just attacking JLR, and that's when you knew that they had some sort of trouble in paradise. And I actually did a video about it because I don't really like JLR for the way he does coverage and stuff like that. The way he and Betty were like hand in hand doing all this harassment of all these true crime victims and their families. But she was accusing him of some really rancid shit that she wasn't proving. And that's wrong. Wrong is wrong, right? Like let's say somebody just hauled off and murdered Lana. That would be wrong. I would say that's wrong. Even though as much as I don't like Lana, that would be wrong. You should not murder anybody. You should not stalk and harass anybody, right? Whether you think they deserve it or not. That's a good way to put it. The drama river flowing under YouTube is like a hell mouth. Yeah. Well, that hell mouth is driven by the algorithm. Just know that. The current is the algorithm that says, ooh, there's something going on here. Let's make sure people see this. Let's be sure people that's true, Teresa. But let's make sure people see this. I hope nobody thinks I hope you all understand what I was just saying. I don't wish death. I don't wish stalking. I don't wish harassment. I don't wish wrong things be done on anybody, including people who have been horrible to me. You see what I'm saying? So, it's just wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong is wrong. So, yeah. And man, isn't this crazy how long this is taking for them to talk about this? I'm on pins and needles too. What is going to happen? I mean, now think about this. Let's put things in perspective here, right? There was an entire hearing about a possible mistrial in the Murdaugh case. And you could argue, right, that there was a lot more evidence of a possible jury tampering or, some sort of mishigas in that situation than what we just saw. Right? And the judge did not order a mistrial. The judge said it does not prove that Mr. Murdaugh did not murder his wife and son. Right? And it does not reach the level of a mistrial to me. That was a funny judge. I actually like that judge in that. Yeah, these lawyers did put us all to sleep, AJ. So I just find it, but again, completely different states. We're in New Hampshire now. That was in South Carolina. But that was a very thorough hearing, and a lot of the evidence was very compelling. And man, Murdaugh has good lawyers. I mean, those lawyers were, a sight to behold. They were smooth, man. They were slick. Yeah. They were brought out of retirement. Oh, I see movement. They were brought out of retirement just for that hearing. Or brought her out of retirement just for that hearing. I didn't know that. Poot. Yeah, Poot. Yeah, I think he really thought, okay, so they're bringing her back. What can we infer? Okay, her hair is about the same as before. Maybe a little more, I don't know, flowing around the head. That energy was riveting, AJ, during Murdaugh. It was riveting. We'll see, Tess Mac. No, she was not taking shit from Poot. But Poot, it was good. Slick, man. They haven't turned up the mics yet.
Bring in the jury. Counsel, actually, never mind. Just gonna...
Yeah, probably. Probably going to clarify now. Yeah, that pony is facing everywhere now. First, it was just facing forward. Then it was facing sideways. Now it's around the entire circumference of her head. Definitely not his first rodeo, AJ. Maybe his last. Who knows?
All right.
That's true, cutie pie. Can we glean any from? You mean the Joel Osteen shooting was a mother shooting their child?
Please be seated.
Jesus
Ladies
Christ.
and gentlemen, I do realize that was more than 15 minutes. Sometimes there are some issues that come up that the court has to deal with before we can bring you back in. We have dealt with that, and the defense may proceed.
When we took the break, you had indicated that you learned information about what was said in opening statements by Adam's attorneys
Yes.
about the case, right?
Yes.
And you were, I think the state asked, were you aware that he said something happened in the night of December 6th to December 7th with you alone in the car?
Yes.
And he also said, were you aware that Adam was conceding that he had been involved in the manipulation, well, the abuse of the course charge
Yes.
and the falsifying evidence charge?
Yes.
And you learned this the morning before you testified.
Yes.
And you learned this because your attorney spoke to you about it.
Yes.
Overruled.
And learning this allowed you to prepare for the answers that you would give.
Yes.
And you discussed the ways that you would deal with this information.
Objection.
Overruled.
Not really, no.
Okay. You thought about this information and you knew that that was different from what you had told police and the prosecutors before.
Yes.
And you thought about this information and this pointed the finger at you, right?
Yes.
And you certainly didn't want to have the finger pointed at you, right?
Right.
And you wanted to think about and prepare yourself for how you would respond to those questions.
Yeah.
Okay. And and it was sort of like the prep sessions with the state and with the police, that you could think about things that had happened and maybe give a better or different explanation the next time you spoke to someone.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
That's a testifying question.
When the police during your interviews raised questions or skepticism about information that you gave them, you'd sometimes change your statements, right?
Objection, Your Honor. Seems facts.
Overruled.
No.
Well, when the police spoke to you in June 3rd, you said that you were not in the bathroom and that you were not involved with what happened in the shower when Harmony's body was at Union Avenue, right?
Right.
And then the next time you talked to the police, you said you were a little bit aware, and then you slipped up and said something, and the police said, "Did you cut any the clothes off?" And you said, "Yeah, the hoodie," right?
That's not how that happened, but
Okay. But you had denied anything, and then as time and their questioning went on, you acknowledged that you were a participant, right?
right.
Okay. And you talked on direct about Adam losing it in after Harmony's body was in the shower, right?
Not that day, but yes.
Okay, sometime after, right?
Right.
And that he was accusing you of cheating on him,
Yeah.
accusing you of trying to kill him,
Yes.
accusing you of having cameras all over the house,
And other things, yes.
and accusing you of blaming him for Harmony's death to the police,
No.
accusing you of telling the police.
Right. You already said that.
Pardon?
You already said that.
Okay.
Asked and answered. She's
So he was accusing you of telling the police that he had caused Harmony's death,
Yes.
and accusing you of telling the police that you were trying to poison him.
Yes.
He was scared of you.
No.
Okay. And none of that was true, right?
What do you mean?
You weren't cheating on him, right?
Right.
And you weren't trying to poison him.
Right.
And you weren't accusing him of Harmony's death.
No.
He had just sort of lost his mind for a while, right?
Yes.
And in that time period, he got violent.
Yes.
And you told the grand jury when you were talking about that time period that he punched you twice.
I don't remember saying how many times, but yes.
Or a couple of times.
Yes.
And that sounds right? Or do you want to see your grand jury testimony?
No, I was going to say yes.
Okay. And he punched you twice, and oh,
The objection is sustained.
you told the grand jury he punched you twice or a couple of times, right?
Right.
twice is a couple times, right? Right. Yes, we know she's a liar. She is a liar, lying liar who lies. Thank you.
And then in March, this started to happen again, right?
It never stopped.
Okay. And you have a picture of, and I'm showing you States Exhibit 99 of you with redness along your eyes.
Yes.
And this is a picture that you took of yourself and sent to other people, right?
Right.
Because you were angry at what he had done to you.
I sent it to my own family.
Okay.
Right.
And you left him,
Yes.
but he was the one that got arrested,
Right.
and you filed a restraining order on him,
Yes.
and went back with your mother for a while,
Yes.
and went to the shelter for a while,
Yes.
and tried to get back with Adam.
Yes.
And you're saying it was not a couple of times after Harmony's body was taken away, it was constant.
Yes.
And then he had also, we talked about, become despondent and sort of suicidal.
It happened twice. Yes.
She just said it happened twice.
Overruled.
And you took care of your kids, right?
Yes.
And took care of Adam
Yes.
and continued on with your life.
Yes.
You said that the state asked you about Adam being pure evil, right?
Yes.
And that's what you said you saw in Adam at the time that you say that he was beating Harmony.
Yes.
And you're saying that a child was beaten to death beside you, looking like pure evil, and you continued on with your children and your life with Adam.
Yeah, but it wasn't okay.
Okay. And you did nothing about Harmony's death.
No, I asked him to stop and he didn't.
Okay. I'm talking about after Harmony was died, you continued on with your life, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't okay. It was abusive.
Okay. And you don't like that, abusive, right?
Right.
And you would not approve of abusive behavior.
Well, I was taking it
Okay.
when I shouldn't have. It took a while for me to just leave him. It's really hard.
Okay. Now, the duffel bag in the trunk of the car, you eventually got the trunk open, right?
No, we didn't get the trunk open.
Well, you eventually got a bunch of stuff out of the trunk, right?
Yes.
And were you present when Mr. Badero drove Adam back to the car?
Yes, I was with him.
And the kids were where?
With us.
Okay. And at that point, you were trying to get the rest of the stuff out of the car.
Yes.
And you were able to take some things out of the car.
Yes.
From the back seat.
Yes.
And from the trunk.
Yes.
And let's talk about the letters talking about betrayal. Remember talking about that on redirect?
Yes.
Thank you, Elaine, for re-illustrating abusive relationships and how sick they are and how women on average will go back
Anyway,
to their abuser 7 times.
Those letters were the handwritten notes that were taken from yourself.
Yes.
And you are talking about betrayal of Adam because you don't want to hurt Adam.
Right.
But I think you said on redirect, but you had to do the right thing.
Right.
And that's what you meant when you wrote the word betrayal, was that you didn't want to hurt Adam, but you had to do the right thing.
Right.
And after you wrote that letter where you didn't want to hurt Adam, but you had to do the right thing, you went and lied to the grand jury.
When I was subpoenaed, yes.
And that was after the letter about betrayal, right?
A few months after, yes.
And that was not doing the right thing, right?
Right.
Because you knew how Harmony died, right?
Right.
And you knew when she died, right?
Right.
And you knew where she died, right?
Yes.
And the right thing would have been to tell the grand jury that information, right?
Right.
And you did not do the right thing.
Not yet.
Okay. And then I think you said that Adam and you talked about, I think you called it take the fall, because he wanted you to be with the children.
Yes.
So Adam agreed to take the fall for what happened to Harmony to protect you.
No, not just to protect me.
To protect you being there for the children.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said if anything happens, he would take the fall.
Right.
And you expected that he would do that, right?
No.
You didn't expect that he would do that.
No.
Okay. But he did, right?
No.
Ah, okay. Sorry. He took the fall in the sense that both of you represented to other people that he had taken Harmony to Crystal.
Right.
Okay. So he was allowing him to be the focus of anybody's questions, not you, right?
Right.
And you said that you said that Dunkin' Donuts, that you stuck with the story even though you didn't work at Dunkin' Donuts on the 30th, right?
Right.
And I think you said that Adam said make it sometime around Thanksgiving, right?
No.
The story about him going with Harmony off to Crystal. And
Yeah,
you-
because we got kicked out of the house, but it was just that time.
Okay. And you were the one that picked the date that you would say that you were working at Dunkin' Donuts, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Well, you said that you continued with your story even though you knew you didn't work that day, right?
Right.
And you continued with the story because in the middle of grand jury, you learned that they had gotten the Dunkin' Donuts records, right?
Yeah.
And you continued with the story because you weren't prepared to say anything else.
I didn't want to say the other issue of what happened.
Okay. And you had been advised prior to the grand jury testimony, those ground rules were saying every time that you lie, you might get stacked charges, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that has been the focus of everything that you have done since being arrested is to be in as little trouble as possible, right?
I'm sorry.
You have said things to try and get out of trouble or keep the trouble as little as possible, right?
No.
Yeah. Well, when they continued asking questions, you could have asked to see your lawyer, right?
Right.
But you continued with the story, right?
Right.
Because you didn't have another one to say.
Because that's what Adam told me to say. I didn't know what else I was going to say. I just stuck with the story.
Okay. So you didn't know what else to say, so you stuck with the story, right?
Right.
And you had talked before about betraying Adam, but weren't ready at the grand jury.
Right.
Okay. And and you said that you were afraid to do anything because you were afraid of what would happen, right?
Right.
And I think one of the things that you told the state that you were afraid of what would happen was that Adam threatened to have Kevin kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. Kevin is the uncle that used to live in 77 Guilford Avenue, right?
Yes.
And the one that was in that fight with Adam that you said that you overheard in the summer.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, she can barely hold her head up, lady. And you're just asking the same question over and over. Is it a strategy for the state to allow the repetitive lines of questioning? Like, what's going on?
State talked to you about your cooperation agreement that you reached before talking to the police about what happened that you said happened to Harmony, right?
Right.
And one of the things that it said was that your statements couldn't be used against you, right?
Right.
And that they wanted the truth, right?
Right.
And you told them when you first spoke after having this agreement that you did not go into the shower at Union Avenue when Adam was manipulating the body, right?
Right.
Pardon?
Right.
And that was not the truth, right?
No.
And you didn't get in any trouble for it, right?
Right.
You just changed your testimony, right?
Right.
Objection.
Basis?
She didn't testify. That's what was happening.
Oh, rephrase.
Okay.
Your statement, right?
Right.
And as time went on and they would approach you with things, you might adjust your statement to fit some of the questions, right?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, we just keep going over the same territory. I feel like I'm streaming Oriani versus MJ over and over again.
And by that agreement, you were supposed to only tell the truth, right?
Right.
And your story changed somewhat, right?
Right.
And at the grand jury, you were only supposed to tell the truth, right?
Right.
And you lied.
Right.
Yeah, I agree that, I mean, it's like insulting to the jury's intelligence and their time.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
And their time.
Anything further from the
Finally.
state?
Let's see if there's any redirect from the state. I don't know how many more times they can go back and forth with redirects and rebuttals. Exactly, Bogart.
Your Honor, no further questions.
All right, you may sit down.
Let's see if they dismiss her as a witness altogether. Let's see if they call another witness.
State may call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, the state calls Ms. Courtney Garcia to the stand.
Courtney Garcia. Does anyone know in the chat who, I didn't hear what she mumbled. Yeah, exactly, harlot. I'd be like, you're wasting my time, bitch. Courtney Garcia. Does anyone know who Courtney Garcia is? We'll find out. They'll ask her who she is, but
When you get there, if you could please just remain standing for a brief moment.
maybe another one of Adam's bow things.
Ms. Garcia, if you would please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you will give this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please feel free to have a seat.
Thank you.
And feel free to pour yourself a glass of water if you'd like for any reason. Ms. Garcia, as we're being recorded here today, would you please state your full name and spell both your first and your last name for the record?
Yes, my name is Courtney Garcia, Courtney Garcia.
Okay, thank you. And what city do you live in?
Manchester, New Hampshire.
How long have you lived here?
About 5 years.
And are you currently employed?
Not at the moment.
Okay. What kind of jobs have you had in your life?
I've had some supervisor positions. I've worked as a counselor in the addiction field, restaurant jobs.
Okay. And currently, right now, do you have any children?
I do.
Okay. How old?
13 months.
It sounds like a handful.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, with regards to the name Adam Montgomery, have you heard that name before?
Yes.
All right. How do you know Adam Montgomery?
He is a childhood friend of my husband,
Okay. And what's your husband's name?
Matthew Garcia.
With regards to Adam Montgomery, have you met him in person before?
I have.
And also, at any point in time, were the two of you working together?
Yes, he was one of my employees.
Please, Your Honor.
2 minutes.
Garcia, I'd like to show you what's been marked States Exhibit 101. Do you recognize that person?
Yes, that's Adam Montgomery.
That's Adam Montgomery. Same man, Adam Montgomery that we're talking about?
Yes.
I'd like to ask you very specifically about Mr. Montgomery. I'd like to ask about Thanksgiving of 2019, if I can.
Okay.
Did you see Mr. Montgomery on Thanksgiving of 2019 or around that time?
I did on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving Day?
Yes.
Okay.
It was in the evening.
I'm sorry, in the evening?
Yes.
Okay. And I would ask if you can just kind of scoot a little bit more forward, actually. You saw him in the evening, right?
Correct.
And when you saw him in the evening, let me ask, did you become aware of where he was living at the time?
Yes, I did. He was living in his vehicle.
What did the car look like?
It was a Chrysler Sebring, very ball tires, silver to my knowledge.
And where did you see him that evening?
I saw him at the Pestataquag, I think that's how you pronounce it, apartments in Manchester, New Hampshire, in the parking lot.
Okay. What, if anything, did you do for him that day?
My husband and I provided Adam gas money, and we offered him a place to stay.
And that was on Thanksgiving, correct?
Correct.
All right. And what did Mr. Montgomery say to that when you offered him a place to stay that night?
Uh,
Yeah, those eyelashes would distract me if I was wearing them. I've never been able to successfully wear false eyelashes, even the smallest kind. Who is disorder in the court? That's me. Stitching with the sisterlies. Any questions? Fishing lures. So, is this, I'm sorry, I was a little bit distracted when they said who this person is. Like how is she? She has a husband. Is she related to the guy, this Anthony Bradero? Or he did a job for her? Big city, New Hampshire, glamorous. Yeah. Well, they're a little, they're a little snooky-ish. We can't see them here behind the shades, but they're a little snooky-ish, those sunglasses. I mean those eyelashes. Garcia's husband. Okay. She looks a lot better than a lot of people end up looking in court. That's for sure. I mean, she's trying at least. She's showing respect.
Thanksgiving and staying. What did the defendant say when you made that offer?
Adam was kind of for it, but Kayla and Adam ended up not agreeing to stay at our location.
Okay. And let me ask you, is that a conversation that you directly had with the defendant?
Yes.
And I believe a second ago you just said also Kayla. So Kayla, is that Kayla Montgomery?
Yes.
That particular day, did you see any other members of the family there?
Yes, they had their two sons and Harmony in the back seat.
Okay. And how did you see her in person in the back seat, or did you just know that she was there?
I just knew that all three children were there. None of the children got out of the vehicle.
Thank you,
Did
cutie
you
pie.
look into the vehicle at any point to put
Again.
eyes on them?
We offered them food, so I believe at one time I kind of put my hand in, and that was that. I didn't really look at the children, saw what I was there for.
Okay. And from your recollection today, how many children were in the car at that time?
30.
Thank you. Moving forward from Thanksgiving, I want to talk to you about the couple of months after that. Did you see the defendant again, Adam Montgomery, sometime between December and January, December of 2019 into January of 2020?
Multiple times.
Okay. And at any point in time during that month, December going into January, did you have a conversation with him about Harmony and her condition?
We did, yes, or I did, yes.
Okay. Where did Mr. Montgomery say she was at that point?
He told us that he brought Harmony back to her mother.
Do you know what her mother's name is?
Crystal, maybe?
Okay. And let me ask, with regards to that, I apologize. Did the defendant ever tell you what her name is? I should have asked a better question there.
No,
Okay.
he did not.
And with regards to how she was back with her mother, what did the defendant tell you about why that happened, or how it happened, or when it happened?
He told us that he brought her back to her mother because Harmony was having multiple accidents in the vehicle.
And by accidents, what do you mean by accidents?
She was using the bathroom in the vehicle.
What, if anything, did the defendant say about Harmony now being with her mother as compared to Harmony being with Adam?
I'm sorry, not.
Sure. At any point in time, did he talk about what kind of, with regards to what Harmony was being provided for, what she could be provided for from her mother as compared to what Adam was able to offer at that time?
A home.
A home?
Yes.
Just a moment, please, Your Honor.
Thank you so much for the more gifted memberships, Cutie Pie. And when there's a break,
Let me ask you, Ms. Garcia.
There will
at
be a
one
special
point,
court
were you
clip.
interviewed by officers of the Manchester Police Department about this interaction that we talked about today that you had with
Yes.
Adam Montgomery?
Yes.
Okay. And during the time that you were speaking with them, did you tell them that the defendant told you that she was better off with her mother than with him at the time?
Basis? I'm sorry, the defendant.
Yes, I'm asking whether or not she reported those as the defendant's words at that time.
The objection is overruled.
Go ahead, Ms. Garcia.
Yes, he told us that she was better off with her mother because she could provide her a home. Adam could not.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Garcia. I don't have any further questions for you. I believe defense counsel will have a few.
Hi, Ms. Garcia. You indicated on direct examination that a place to stay was offered for the night.
Correct.
Adam was kind of for it.
Yes.
Kayla wasn't.
Correct.
Thank you.
Anything further, Attorney Gotti?
Nothing else. We'd ask this witness to be excused.
Any objection?
No objection.
You may step down. You are excused.
Thank you.
Just a brief moment.
No, I think she's attractive too, Cutie Pie. I actually think she's naturally
At this time, the state will
pretty and
call-
doesn't need all of that makeup, but you know, that's just me. Yep, very pretty hair. Let's see if they call another witness. They turned off the, oh, they did. They turned off the mic. Why? Do they know that they turned off the mic? Hello? Okay. I'm going to another court feed because the mic is not on.
That the testimony
there we
you
go.
give this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes.
Thank you. Please feel free to have a seat. Ms. Frayne, as we're being recorded here today, would you please state your first and your last name for the record and spell them out for us?
Kimberly, Kimberly, Frayne, Frain.
Thank you, Ms. Frayne. Appreciate that. With regards to New Hampshire, do you live in the state?
Yes.
Okay. And generally, what town do you live in?
Meredith.
In Meredith. And what are you doing for work right now?
I'm working in healthcare at a hospital.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
Almost 3 years.
How far have you gone in school?
I'm actually back in school now.
Oh, what are you studying?
Where?
What? I'm sorry. What are you studying?
It's kind of long. Healthcare administration.
Okay.
For sure.
And how long have you been, or how long do you have to go before you get a degree?
Like 3 more years.
3 more years.
Yeah.
All right. Pardon me. So I'm going to ask just one question at a time. So I'd ask you to please listen carefully to either my question or any other counsel's question that you get asked. And if I'm talking too quickly or if you don't understand my question, just let me know. I'll be happy to restate it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Prior to where you live now, did you used to live in Manchester back in 2019?
Yes.
And do you know of somebody by the name of Adam Montgomery?
Yes.
Did you ever used to work at a Dunkin' Donuts on Beach Street in Manchester?
Yes.
How long did you work there?
Like 5 years,
About 5 years.
maybe.
Okay. Let me ask, you also know the name Kayla Montgomery.
Yes.
And what was when you, and have you met Kayla Montgomery?
Yes.
Right. What's the relationship between Kayla Montgomery and Adam Montgomery when you first met them?
I met them at work. We worked together. First, I worked with Kayla, and then Adam worked with us too.
With regards to Kayla and Adam, did you ever meet Adam's daughter, Harmony Montgomery?
Once.
One time?
Yes.
Did you ever spend time with her?
Yes. I babysat her and the two boys, or one boy at the time, at my house.
At your house?
Yeah.
And would this have been back in 2019?
Yeah, I think it was the summer of 2019.
I'd like to ask some specific questions for you about Adam Montgomery, specifically about beginning in the winter of that year at the end of 2019. All right.
Okay.
Right. Did you ever bring Adam Montgomery jumper cables to try to start a car?
Yes.
How many times have you done that for him?
Once.
Just the one time.
One time.
How did he reach out to you for help?
He either called me or it was on Facebook. I can't remember which. And he said that their car had died and it was freezing out and they wanted me to come jumpstart their car. And I told them no, but they kept begging and I felt bad. So I went.
Okay. So you said maybe they messaged you or reached out on Facebook. Is that right? Did you have a Facebook account at one point that just went by the name Kimberly Frayne?
Yeah.
And is that the account that he might have messaged you on?
Yeah.
What time was this? What time of morning was this that Adam reached out or you got these messages asking for a jump?
It was in the middle of the night. I just remember that. It was late.
So did you go to where they were and give them a jump?
I did.
Where did you go?
It's behind Elm Street in, I think it's Colonial Apartments.
Okay. And is that at the south side of town, west side, or north side of town?
It's like right down the road from my house on the north side.
Okay. When you saw them, do you remember what kind of car they were in that night?
Yeah, they were in a blue Audi.
Now, when you went to meet them, first of all, what was the weather like that night?
It was cold. It was freezing.
So when you got there, who, if anybody, got into your car?
I pulled up and I don't remember the beginning, but I don't think I brought a jumper pack
Mhm.
that my ex-husband had, and a good Samaritan came by and him and Adam jump started it, and Kayla jumped in my car with the two boys and we just blasted the heat to keep them warm.
To keep them warm?
Yeah.
So you said it was Kayla and the two boys?
Two boys.
Okay. So I know you said before that you had babysat Harmony on one occasion. Was Harmony there with you? Did she get into the car as well with Kayla and the two boys?
No.
Did you see Harmony at all while you were there that night?
No.
And I believe you said a good Samaritan came along. Do you remember who that is or even know who that
No,
is?
it's just somebody in the complex saw us struggling.
Okay. I guess I'll ask this one other question. After that one time, did you ever jump a car for them again?
No, I was distancing myself from them. at that point.
Do you remember the exact day that this occurred in the winter of 2019, end of 2019?
No.
Okay. Just that it was very cold out. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just a moment, please, Your Honor.
Yeah, you can tell she has a lot of animosity toward these people.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you, Ms. Fran. I have one more question just for you in general. Um, with regards to conversations that you've had with Adam Montgomery, the defendant in this case, with regards to the conversations, did you ever have a conversation with him about Harmony having bathroom accidents or wetting herself or defecating herself in her pants?
I don't think so. Not him.
Not him.
No.
Okay. With anybody else?
Maybe with Kayla, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, and I don't want you to guess. So if you remember, you remember. If you don't, you don't.
I
That's
don't.
okay. And so you're saying your testimony is you don't.
I don't remember.
All right. All right. Thank you very much for your time. I have no further questions for you. I believe defense counsel may have a few.
Thank you.
Counsel, you want to move? Come up.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, and I only have a couple of questions.
Okay.
You recalled that whatever car that you jumped, you thought it was a blue Audi?
Yeah.
And you know from before that Adam used to drive a Sebring.
It was a silver car.
Okay. This was not the car that Adam used to drive around, right? And you remembered this way back in 2021 when the police first asked you about it, right?
Yeah.
And your memory, even the first time you talked about it, was a blue Sebring. I mean, sorry, blue Audi.
No, I think I might have told them I think I told them it was the silver car, but
Okay.
it was the Audi they were in.
Okay, so you're really clear about that, huh?
Yeah.
So what changed when you first said the Sebring and then sort of recalled the Audi?
I just couldn't remember the time frames because it was so long ago.
Okay, so I understand that, but what changed your recollection of the type of car?
Overruled. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I think you said at first you told him it was the Sebring, but then the blue Audi when they first started questioning you on it, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what it was that made you say that it was the blue Audi?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? You may step down. Counsel approach.
Okay. Interesting. So they're probably talking right now about how many more witnesses do you have? Is this a good time to break? Because it's almost 4 o'clock now. I don't have memberships on Checkmate, Stacy. I used to, but you know, I felt bad about charging for memberships there because I don't go live on that channel. And really memberships are better for when you go live and there's, better perks, to give members, and it's more of a way to show support, when you go
It's
live.
10:04, and I don't want to get started with another witness and take you too long beyond 4 o'clock. So we're going to end for the day. I know earlier when I left this morning, there were some reports about weather. I have kept an eye on it as we've taken breaks throughout the day. The reports actually look much better than was originally anticipated. And we're New Hampshireites, so we're used to weather, but it does not look like it is going to be the significant weather event that they had originally predicted. So I'm going to keep an eye on the weather throughout the night. At this point, the court will be open. We will. I have every expectation that we are going to go forward tomorrow with trial. So I'll need you here at 8:45. If anything were to change, we would let you know well before then. I know we have contact information for all of you. I'll double check to make sure that that's correct. So keep an eye out on your email or text messages, but I think it is extremely unlikely that we would not have trial tomorrow. So you should all plan accordingly. Put your boots beside the door. So 8:45 tomorrow morning. As I said, don't read anything about this. Avoid all news media regarding this case. Don't look anybody up. Don't do any independent research. And I will see you tomorrow morning for a 9 a.m. start. Thank you so much.
Don't talk to your
everybody, for
lawyer about
attention
opening
today.
statements.
All right. Thank you. Great. Can you just make sure that I'll call downstairs to Ann, make sure she has everybody's contact information. Okay.
So I'll definitely schedule a live for tomorrow to restart court. But if we don't have court, we won't have court with each other. But that was it. That was a somewhat interesting, if a little bit dragging day in court.
All right, everybody. You can be seated.
Is there going to be conversation? Let's see.
Any last minute issues we need to address? You can do it from there. I think unless you think there's something that would be privileged, but otherwise I say do it from there. Okay. Okay.
We heard from Attorney Sheehan, who understands would likely go ahead and vote for some of the cross-examination disagree about that. So as a result, we decided to have a conversation with our office this evening as to whether or not we would grant it, and we'll have an answer for you on that prior to taking the stand, the day of him taking the stand. So we will hopefully go ahead and be able to resolve that issue.
Okay. When you say the day of his taking the stand, that would be will not be problematic. I don't believe if immunity is granted. If immunity is not granted, it may become an issue. So we'll need time to do that.
Understood, Your Honor.
They're talking about Cordero.
I believe that authorization will likely be given.
Okay. So anything, Attorney Smith, Attorney Brooks, you want to say about that? Okay. Do you agree with what I just said, which is if immunity is granted, I don't see any issue or the need for any hearing prior to his taking the stand. Obviously, as soon as immunity is granted, you will give any immunity letter to the defense right away, right? Okay. So, and if in the event that were not accurate, then I'd want to know right away because I would want to want to make sure we have time for hearing on that.
With regards to that, Your Honor, I believe also procedure, we would have to submit the letter to the court. The court would have to sign off on the order before that would happen, and then obviously both sets of counsel will happen. So I would anticipate that would happen well in advance of your testimony.
Okay, good. If there's any issues there, you're going to let me know, I'm sure. So please do. Anything else from your perspective that we can accomplish today?
No, you're.
Okay. Actually,
It's Anthony Bordero.
I have every expectation that we will go forward tomorrow. Like I said, I looked at least, maybe not the last break, but at lunchtime, and it looked like, 3.5 inches of snow or something like that. So I think I have every expectation that we're going to go forward tomorrow. If there were any changes, I want the best contact information for you all. And maybe, just in case we can't get to one member of your team, maybe it makes sense to give us contact information for both. And then once we contact the first person, we would have you.
So they were what they're talking about. Anthony Bordero, the guy that they were staying with, they were staying behind at his apartment complex, and he is the drug dealer, right? So I don't know for sure what he would be given immunity for, but possibly it would be for being a drug dealer, right? For admitting that he's probably going to have to testify that that's where Kayla and Adam were getting their drugs and where Adam was getting his drugs. And maybe he witnessed other things that could incriminate him if he admits them. I don't know. But what they were talking about is, do we need to have a hearing? If he's granted immunity before he testifies, do we have a hearing about it? Right. So they just decided, no, we don't have to have a hearing, and they all agreed to that. So it'll be interesting to see when he testifies. I don't know if that's tomorrow or not, if they have a trial. We've all been speculating about what is under the big thing under the table, and it looks like it could be the cooler that people have talked about, that he put Harmony in a cooler. Gross as it is, disgusting. So at some point we're going to be seeing that. I do have some special court clips to show for Cutie Pie, who gifted 5 more memberships. This is for you, Cutie Pie, because I know you like it.
But then she attacks his girlfriends.
Dick pussy, dick pussy, dick pussy, dick pussy, going back and forth between texts with one another, but I never want to hear it again.
It's a good clip. That's a really good clip. So thank you for those memberships. And this one is for the new member, Boss Lady.
Alfred!
Always fun. Always fun. Always fun. All right. Well, it's been a long day, so, maybe not as long as we're used to. Since they ended at 4. But still, it feels long when you listen to somebody droning on and asking the same questions over and over and over and over again. I won't believe who got arrested. Did somebody got arrested? Tell us, Chopper. Look at long crime. All right, I'm looking at long crime. Hold on one moment. Home Improvement actor Zachary Bryan for assaulting a woman. Oh my God.
But I'm gonna bail out like super soon. I'm getting the fuck out of this city. So fucked up. I don't know why you guys did this to me.
Well, I didn't do it to you.
She's so pissed, huh?
What?
She's so mad.
I get why you're upset.
It is what it is, but it's pretty fucked up, dude. Person. But she said she went to Oregon, but that was a lie.
Is Home Improvement, was that the Tim Allen show? Wow. Oh man, too bad. Too bad. Assaulting a woman. That's really sad. That's really sad. One time I had to keep Tim Allen busy while he was waiting to meet with Steve Jobs. I had to entertain him. I did like a little soft shoe, played the piano. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, all right. I will see you soon. I will see you tomorrow if the court continues tomorrow. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being respectful in chat. Oh, it was kind of entertaining, Sparkles. It was kind of entertaining. He was really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? Energetic? Energetic. he was pretty amped up, I gotta say. And then later he was arrested with cocaine. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so everything was entertaining, very entertaining. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you all for being here and being very, very, very respectful. I appreciate you all. And have a great rest of your day. Bye.